and welcome to another episode of Vino y la Verdad, hosted by the ladies of Wine and Wisdom 5. Hi, ladies. How are you?
Hi.
How's everything?
Up?
Good.
So we did our show on Sunday. How was it?
Good.
Amazing.
I'm on cloud nine. I'm still on cloud nine.
I still can't believe it. I
Amazing,
can't wait to
amazing.
get the footage and the video and all of the pictures. And we got amazing feedback. So kudos to us for that. I'm so proud. And you know that we were able to accomplish that. And I'm so proud of us, 100% proud of us.
Yes. Shout out to everyone that was there, that took part of it, that helped us, that, Tati, Inez, that were such great help and support.
Yeah.
Including Jessica's daughter.
Yes, Julie.
Julie, she was also great help. And
Yes.
just everyone that came out and supported us and participated and, bought tickets and showed us love. Because like you said, it's been nothing but beautiful, great, positive feedback and everyone's just so proud of us that was there, that knows us like personally, and it's just wonderful.
It was amazing.
I saw some of my college friends there, and they're like, Claudia, we're just so proud of you guys for just following your dream, like just going for it, right? Because that's our biggest fear, people's holdback. You're afraid. I mean, we're not that we're old, but we're 40. We're like, oh, let's go, and this is our time, wherever, but it's our time, and we're gonna just do it, right? We got one life, right? One life.
Yeah.
So that's it. I don't want to say I shoulda. I coulda.
Right. I should have. And if we get to the next level, that would be great. Amazing. And we can continue empowering and motivating more people. And if we don't, guess what? We did something that most people won't be able to do, right? Five Latinas in a podcast. Right. I think we're succeeding already in my eyes.
Absolutely.
So
we found
winning. That power to be able to get that courage of being able to do that. So, and it was even more empowering being able to share the stage with, 5 childhood friends. Not many people can say that, so I can't wait for the next one and see where that goes,
Yes.
So today we're now, that we're talking about power. We have the amazing, motivating, spiritual, pure person, Christian De La Huerta. He is the author of an amazing book that was endorsed by Gloria Estefan, and we have him here on the show today. And the name of his book is called Awakening the Soul of Power. He does retreats, he does motivational speaking, and we're just gonna jump right into it today because we have so much to talk to him about, and we're excited to have him on the show. So stay tuned for our Pero Porque Why segment with Christian De La Huerta. We'll be right back with Pero Porque Why.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our segment Pero Porque Why. Today we have the amazing best-selling author, Cristian De La Huerta. Hi, Cristian.
Pero ¿por qué why?
Hi.
Hey.
Hola.
Hola, mucho gusto.
I love that backdrop.
I love it.
Thank you.
Salud.
Cheers to you and your book.
Cheers, and thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for having the show.
No, thank you for reaching out to us.
Yes.
It was honor, and it was a pleasure seeing that little message pop up, and I was like, oh yeah, and I was automatically, let's figure it out, so congratulations on your book. Thank you for being on our show. Tell us a little bit about your book, all the years that you've been helping people empower themselves and find their inner no, as you say, and how you got endorsed by Gloria Estefan.
I still can't get over that. It took me 3 years. It took me 3 years. I courted her for 3 years to get the endorsement.
Not hard. She's hard to get.
Oh my God. It's a real testament. It's a story about not giving up. and persistence.
Yes.
Because I read something, like I knew she was the one that I really wanted to get an endorsement from. And so I read that she was going to be honored at some kind of gala in Miami where I was living at the time. And so I bought a ticket, I went to the gala, and at the end of it, I made a beeline just to meet her. And I just wanted to make sure I spoke to her before she left. And sure enough, she was really sweet, really nice, really human, really accessible, really humble. And so I told her, you know, because I said before, Gloria was Gloria, when it was Miami Sound Machine, they used to play it.
Yeah.
They used to play it. Exactly. They used to play it at our high school dances.
Wow.
So we laughed, before they were famous. So we laughed at that. And then I told her about this book. And I told her, you know, that it has a particular message about women's empowerment, that I think you'd want to hear about it. And so she gave me the card of her manager's card. And that's the part that took 2 years, you know, because he's doing his job. He was, you know, being the guardian, the guard dog. And after like 2 years, I was getting ready to give up. And I thought, you know what, let me pause. Like, let me rethink this. What would make Gloria respond? And then I thought, you know, this book is part of a series of 3. And it's about what it means to live heroically in the 21st century, when we don't have the horse hitch outside and the armors and the demons to slay, except the ones in our own heads. And so I thought, all right. So then I started over the email, and I thought, all right, you know about heroism. The way that you overcame your bus accident and recovered has been a source of inspiration for millions of people all over the world. And then I did some research, and I found out that her father had been a counter-revolutionary. So he had been fighting, you know, like for Cuba's freedom from the totalitarian regime, as my parents had done in Cuba. And so I threw that in, and it said, you know, the sacrifices our parents made for a larger cause of freedom are nothing less than heroic. And then I also found out that she's a really generous human being. So she's helped a lot of Latina artists.
Yes, she
like
has.
make it. And so I said, look, you know, it's like I spoke about her generosity and her goodness. I said, won't you help this fellow Cuban American reach a broader audience with this important message? And 3 months go by. I said, well, I got to go to press. You know, I can't, this is not going to happen. And then I listened to that still voice inside, that quiet voice. I said, just one more. I said, all right, I'll send that one more email. Within an hour, her manager emailed me back and said, can you give us another week? She's halfway through your book and she's loving it.
Oh,
love it.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I've only read the first chapter and I already love it.
Yeah, thank you. Great. Thank you. So yeah, it's, you know, and speaking about women, I think that's part of what inspired this book. The book is for everybody because everybody struggles with power. Like part of us wants it, part of us is afraid of it. And I think what we really fear is like, if we really stepped into all our power and if we really be all of who we are, that we think that other people wouldn't hack it and we might end up rejected and alone. And who wants that? And I think we also fear that we might abuse it. And who wants to do that? And no wonder, because all we got to do is turn on the news any day to witness at least one abuse of power. And who wants to be an abuser of power? And so combine that with the fact that we've been conditioned to believe that power is a bad thing, that power is a negative thing. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely. What they didn't tell us, though, is that quote, Lord Acton was speaking specifically about political power, not personal power, which is what we're talking about. And so when you combine that, you put that onto the mix and you add to it that we've been conditioned to be afraid of the emotions, to label the emotions weakness, that we hate conflict, we avoid confrontation. What happens when you put all that together is that we end up giving our power away, our inherent, innate power that nobody can give to us, nobody can take away. We are the only ones who give it away. And the sad part is that we give it away for the saddest, lamest of reasons. Like we say yes when inside we really feel no, for an illusion of security. We settle for less, we give away, we override our preferences, our desires, our thoughts, our beliefs for a false sense of acceptance, and we settle for crumbs of pseudo love. And so what the message of the book is like, wait a minute, that's not a good strategy. There's a way that we can own our power and step into our authentic power in a way that it has nothing to do with power, with fear or control or domination or hierarchy, that we don't have to push anybody down, step on and put our knee to their neck in order for us to feel powerful. There's a way that we can do this in a way that is a match for the goodness in our hearts.
Woo, preach.
Wow. Yes.
Preach, Christian, preach.
When did you find your
touched all of
power?
us right now.
Yeah. When did you find your power? When did you feel like, we all struggle with that at some point in our lives, but when was your like moment?
That's a really good question. I think it's a journey. I think it's a process, and there've been certain points along the way. And I think the process is the stronger our sense of self. Because if I look back at my adolescence, it's like with one long depression, with suicidal fantasies, and it's like, and so I flash forward to today, is like, no matter what happens, no matter the details, the circumstances of my life, a relationship works out or it doesn't, a project succeeds or it fails. Never, ever, ever do I question my sense of self. So I've was able to transition from self-doubt and self-hatred to self-confidence and self-empowerment and self-love. And so I know that if I can do it, anybody can. It's a journey, and it begins with becoming self-aware, right? Because we can't do anything about what we're not aware of. And the tragic part is that a lot of the stuff that drives us to do what the stuff that we do is coming out of subconscious stuff that we're not even aware of. Sometimes stuff that even happened to us when we were kids. Like before we even had a sense of self, that we misheard something. Our parents in a moment of overwhelm said something to us the wrong way, and we took it on as like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me, or I'm not good enough, or maybe our parents got divorced. And at that age, we didn't know, had no idea what was going on with them individually, how they did relationships, how they were parents before they did relationships. We don't know what was going on about any of it. But they split up, and then we personalize it. It's like, well, how could mommy leave? How could daddy leave? Like, don't they love me? And then the deeper one is like, well, what does it mean about me that they left, right? What's wrong with me? And so that stuff is so intense that we can't really look at it, so we suppress it. And it goes into the subconscious, but it just doesn't go away, right? That stuff is impacting every one of our relationships and every one of our life situations from the subconscious. So the first step is making the subconscious conscious.
Right. Yeah. It's funny. I went through that, growing up,
excuse me.
My parents didn't have the best relationship, and growing up, my dad was so strict. So like you kind of, you create defensive mechanisms, right? To like, how to not stir someone up, get someone upset. But my mother always lived in stress because her marriage was unhappy. And then you tend to say, is it me, or you're making them upset? But it really wasn't. It wasn't until later when I had my own kids, and I'm like, my mother was just doing the best that she could.
Exactly.
In her situation, like just to survive her environment. And I was doing the same for me. And that owning that really kind of set me free in my marriage, if that makes sense. Because
makes total sense.
I had issues, daddy issues or issues, and my husband pointed it out, and I was like, oh, maybe you're right. But someone had to help me see it, because when you're in your own head, you don't see it, and then you like self-reflect, and you're like, you're right. And then just talking to my mom, and I'm like, I get it. I understand you were doing the best you could. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't anyone else's fault. It was her way of dealing. And then now I have to help. My way of dealing has to be better for my own kids.
And it is better for sure.
So it's a process, like you said. But that's just in one area of life, right? Then you have your workforce area, or your different areas you have to try to navigate in and find your power.
Right. And that's one of the first questions that I ask people at my retreats in their process of figuring out, like, where are we giving away our power? So the first step is like, all right, what areas of life do you give your power away? Is it in romantic, intimate relationships? I think most of us do in that area. Or is it with authority figures, bosses, parents, coaches, religious leaders, that kind of thing? Or is it with family members? Is it with peers and friends? And so by beginning to ask ourselves the questions, that's how we become aware of why we do the things we do. But first of all, we gotta be willing to look inside. And it's work. It's not easy. It's a lot easier to just go through life not thinking and medicating ourselves and not feeling. But if we do that, we're always going to be stuck. There's no chance of freedom. And when we're willing to do this work of looking inside and asking ourselves, what kind of stuff triggers me? What kind of situations do I tend to give my power away? What are the patterns in relationships, right? Because sometimes we look at a relationship and it feels like the same boring movies, just with a different actor, but it's the same boring movie, same crap, same arguments, same stuff that comes
over.
just with somebody else.
Yeah, you mentioned about that when your parent leaves or you blame yourself. So I'm so guilty of that, because my father left when I was at a young age, and when he was home, we lived a good life, but when he left, he left with everything. We had nothing. So I blame myself. I thought it was my fault, because I was the youngest, and my brother and my sister got to have a relationship with my father. I didn't get to have a relationship with my father because I was so young. And so it's carried on into my, adult relationships, into my marriage and into just other relationships that I've had, that I've noticed that I automatically just push and I don't talk about my feelings, or, it's not a conversation and turns into a full blown out argument, because that's what I was used to, right? My parents never had a conversation. It just turned into a full blown out argument. So there was never no communication. It was just like, and then nothing ever got solved, right? It just got suppressed. And then they wake up the next morning and act like nothing ever happened, So I've noticed now that I'm going through a divorce, that I've carried that over into my relationships. So it's funny that you said that, because I can relate to that.
Yeah. Somebody said, I remember it was my friend, Daramain, who's a yoga teacher, author. He said in one of his books, it's important to heal our relationship with our parents so that we can stop dating them.
Amen.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true.
By the end of this episode, I'm gonna need this, not the glass.
Yeah.
It's funny because you mentioned it, Cristian, that it starts from early childhood, right? The fears that are put into us by our parents. No te subas ahí que te vas a caer. No cruce que te da un carro. No haga esto. Those fears are implemented into us. Mm-hmm. And then now that you mentioned we got to stop dating our parents is also so true, right? Because perfect example, love my dad, may he rest in peace. But he was guilty of being the most unfaithful man on earth to my mother. And when I was married, and I went through my problems before being divorced, I thought it was okay that my problem with my husband, and that's why I try to fix the marriage after being apart, was, he was just unfaithful. Every man is unfaithful. It's okay. Because my dad was unfaithful.
Right,
so,
right.
So you think it's okay. He's not abusive. He's not hitting me. He doesn't use drugs. He's here. He provides for me and my kids. He's a good husband. He cheated. Oh, well, every man cheats. I'll give it another try. And then I caught myself in the second round and I was like, am I crazy? No one deserves this. I'm not doing this. That was my mother. I saw myself in the mirror and who I saw was my mother. And I said, no, esto se para aquí. Yo no nací para eso. To be cheated on. I was like, I'm not doing this shit. And thank God, here I am, 15 years later, still divorced. But it's like, no.
You just nailed it, Gloria, because it's about self-worth.
Yes.
Yeah. And once you got to that point where you said, no, this is, I don't want this. No. I don't deserve this. I didn't sign up for this. I want more. I deserve more.
Thank you.
And that's when things change.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
actually have mentioned that in another episode. I think
Yeah.
that we were talking about relationships, where I said, you know what, I'm not gonna just be the side girl, or I'm not just gonna be the weekend girlfriend. If I'm gonna be in a relationship, I want a real relationship, or I'd rather just stay by myself, and then I'm okay. Then I know I'm by myself. But I am worthy of being a wife. I am worthy of having a real relationship if I'm gonna be in one. So
Yeah, I would say like we're all worthy of having the kind of partner,
absolutely.
the kind of relationship that is a match that
For us.
honors and respects and cherishes them and receives it from us,
Right.
who sees us, and that we can share passion in the bedroom and out of the bedroom.
Right.
That has a sense of humor, that we can connect at different
Absolutely.
levels, that we can support each other to grow and evolve. Because the thing about relationships is, if we approach them as like which is how most people approach them, it's like, you are going to make me happy.
No.
Like,
We gotta make ourselves
yikes,
happy.
Mhm.
yikes, right? And how unfair to put that big responsibility on somebody else, doomed to fail, because ain't nobody out there is going to make us happy. Nobody.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope. Ever.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Tell us about your adventures and transformation, because I was reading that a little bit, and that's so intriguing, of like going to retreats and things like that. Like, how does that work?
Well, I've been doing retreats, like transformational retreats, for the last 30 years, until 2 years ago when the pandemic happened. And so then I had to, like many people, pivot and develop virtual online programming. So I'll go back to doing retreats when it's safe to do so, because the retreats are really fun and they're amazing, and they combine teachings with really profound healing practices like breath work. And I've also noticed over the years, like people would come to, some people, like a certain percentage, would come and they have this amazing life-changing and expansion and opening, see themselves from a different perspective, look at their patterns, understand who they are and why they do the things we do. And then when they went back into their lives, if they didn't have a support system, a practice, some kind of accountability system, it's not hard. I mean, to get sucked back into the day-to-day and all the distractions of life, and it's not hard to forget. And then the old voices of fear and self-doubt and the self-sabotaging behaviors, they start creeping up and pulling us down again. And then they'd have to come do another retreat. So what I'm loving about this concept, which is Adventures in Transformation, it's a year-long coaching program. So, but piecemeal, right? So I get to stretch out the teachings over a course of a year and deliver it piecemeal, like a little bit each week, bite sizes. But here's the difference: interactivity, right? So every week they have like maybe a short chapter to read from my book, with practices that are designed to integrate the teachings, to apply them to our lives, so that they don't stay at the level of, wow, what a great idea, what a great concept. Right. They don't stay at the level of information. We don't need more information. We've got information overload. What we need is transformation. Yeah. And that comes from applying it, from like really taking them on as practicing them in our lives. So that's what those practices are designed to do. And the accountability comes from every 2 weeks, there's coaching calls with me for 2 hours. And in between weeks, the group is divided into smaller, what I call power pods. So 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. And that meeting in between could be 5 minutes, could be 10, could be an hour, whatever they choose to do. But it's a way to provide both support with the as we go through this year of transformation, and accountability. Did you do what you said you were going to do? So that's what ensures change and transformation.
You're that trainer. A personal trainer.
Yeah, like a personal transformation coach.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and so we focus on a different theme each quarter. So first quarter is understanding the mind, the ego mind, and how it sabotages us and it keeps us in a self-made prison of fear and lack and doubt and limitation, and how we break free from that. Second quarter is empowerment. So what we're talking about, how do we step into power in a different way? Third quarter is relationships. How do we do relationships consciously? And how do we remove the subconscious obstacles to love? So one of my premises in that, which is paraphrasing the Course in Miracles, that it's not our job to look for love, but to look within ourselves for the obstacles to love. right? Because if we're approaching a relationship with, I'm not good enough, or there's something wrong with me, that's all we're going to get back, right? That's all we're going to attract back, because that's what we attracted. That's what we believe about ourselves, which isn't true. It's just a misunderstanding. Or we also look, if we approach it with a belief, subconscious, that all relationships end up in argument and discord and divorce, and all relationships you're going to end up keep getting cheated on or betrayed or left. Who in the right mind is going to want to get in a relationship? But
No
right? It's insanity. It'd be crazy. So what we end up doing though is like this, because we want love.
Yeah.
But don't get too close. This, but that. Quédate allá. Right. So we end up sabotaging our relationships before we even get started.
Yes.
By attracting the wrong people, by falling for people who are not a match, who are not available. They're already with somebody else, or they live in another country, or they're just not there.
Yeah.
And so once we figure out what's going on and what it is that we're trying to protect in ourselves, then we can attract the kind of relationship that can actually have a chance of working.
What would you say to someone who's in a situation like that? You know, that they think that, you know, they're in a great relationship, but they don't see the faults in their relationship.
Well, you know, that's denial, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the ways in which we sell our power away. Like, you know, like the subconscious fear is that being alone. And so that's what we settle. That's what we sell ourselves out for people that we know are not a match. Like if if somebody gave us the truth serum, sodium pentothal, the truth would come out. Like somewhere along the way, we knew this was not a good idea, and we override that. We overrode it because either they were hot, but the red flags, we know, right? With all the red flags
Everywhere.
going everywhere, we overrode them because we didn't want to be alone, or because we were afraid we were going to find somebody else, whatever the reason was. But you know, that stuff, it only gets, bless you.
Thank you.
The stuff only gets worse, right? The stuff that we try to overlook, it's only, and sweep under the rug, it only starts building up and getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can't, with somebody in that situation who's not ready yet to look at themselves, there's not much we can do.
That's right.
Until they hit some kind of pain point, some kind of drama, something happens, then wakes us up.
Yeah.
Now, like, you know, we've all been on our own transformation journey at some point in our life.
Sure.
For me right now, being a mom of, like, I have a 2-year-old, a 10, and a 12. And my daughter.
And your husband.
And my my
That's your fourth child.
So my daughter's 12, beautiful. She's a dancer, but I want to teach this to her young. And sometimes I don't know how to without nagging, if that makes sense. Like,
Sure.
you know, we were looking at her report card grades, and, you know, there was a consistent, you know, she didn't do bad, but she didn't do her best. So, you know, just trying to uplift her and try, like, I don't know how to do it without her feeling like I am reprimanding.
Yeah.
Like her self-worth, her, like, how, I don't know how there's anything for parents.
No, you're doing beautifully.
Cody's like, please.
Please, because I'm going to keep drinking if you don't tell me. Por favor. Ayúdame.
Like,
Cristian, te mandó a tener tanto muchacho.
Cristian, sálvame, por favor.
Well, let's not talk about that.
Christian, I have 2, but they're big already.
Let's not talk about that. I'm one of 9 kids. Like, I can't even imagine.
Wow.
Oh.
Toma más, Cristian, toma más.
The mother was a saint.
Can you imagine? I can't even imagine. And all of us within 12 years, no twins. She was probably pregnant for 12 years.
12 years? Oh my God, that lady.
Dios
But anyway,
mío, God bless her.
I know.
I did it twice, and that was way too many times.
Here's what I say about parenting. I think the best thing you can do for your parents, for your kids, is be the best, most amazing, happiest, most empowered, most beautiful you that you can be. They're going to learn from example more than from what you tell
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
them.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always said like I have both parents at home, even though I said what I said earlier about my dad being a cheater, but dad always came home every night, no matter what. But me raising my two boys on my own for 20 years, because unfortunately I got divorced shortly after I had my second son. I always made it a priority to let them know that they were my priority, that they came before everything and anyone. And unfortunately, I feel the world we live in today, everything is so materialistic. Everything is about the newest, electronical device that you can give the kid to entertain them. I didn't do that raising my kids. Granted, yes, they're 24 and 20 now, so it's different times. But I made it my point to give them my undivided attention when I came home from work.
Yes.
Like it was our time and our home was our kingdom, and no one came in unless they were going to be down with whatever we had going on for the day, whether it was movie night, whether it was reading night, whether it was board game night, whether it was we're just going to hang out in our pajamas day, whatever it was. Because I've always said kids just need attention and know that you're there for them, and not material things, and not
That's right.
money, and not gadgets, and not whatever else is around them. What they need is your attention, and to know that you love them and you care about them, no matter what the outcome is, whether they're, blue, purple, green, orange, whether they choose blue, purple, green, orange for their preference in life, it doesn't matter. They're your child, and you got to give them all your love, all your attention.
That's
and
it.
that has to be taught when they're small, because
That's
now when
it.
they're teenagers, they don't need us anymore. They need it when they're small.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You all need to give me the secret of whatever supplements you're all taking to stay so young.
We're in our 20s. It's called wine and vino.
Vino y la verdad.
Yeah. Here's the other thing that I think it's helpful to think about parenting. It's like they're not really your kids, right? They're not really yours. You're stewarding them. These are like amazing beings. These are like human beings that you are stewarding. So you're like kind of showing them the ropes.
Yes.
And so that's kind of freeing.
Right.
And because that way it kind of cleans things up. We just give it our best. We teach them the best values that we can and the best skill sets and what like you're saying, Gloria, to teach them to love themselves as much as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. My father left. My mother didn't. She's an orphan, so she didn't have an example, right?
Right.
He didn't have an example. My father left, and he was a businessman. We grew up very well off, but like I said, when he left, we had nothing. My mother didn't speak English. She had a sophomore year of high school education, half of a sophomore year high school education, and my mother hustled, and she vowed to herself that she was going to be able to continue to give us the lifestyle that he started, right? To maintain that lifestyle, and she did. She sold underwear, she sold eyeliners, she sold perfumes, scarves, hats, whatever she was able to do until she opened up her daycare. And then that was the best birth control she could have ever given me. Coming home from school at the age of 13, having to change diapers and, play and Sesame Street and, Barney. And I was like, okay, I got the message, lady. I got the message. But it just taught me how to appreciate her hustle, and I think that's why I became such a hustler. So when the tables turned and I had to take care of her, it didn't faze me to work 2 or 3 jobs and go to school full time. Because for me, I was doing it for her the way she did it for me.
How beautiful is that?
I'm not a parent, but I have like 15 godchildren.
You have all of our kids.
So I have a lot of godchildren, but I also coach cheerleading, and those kids have become my kids, right? You begin to parent other people's kids. And so it's totally that you're a role model first, I think, before you're a parent. And they sponge off of that, they eat off of that. And I totally agree with that. So
That's what they're looking for. They're looking for authenticity, and that you walk your talk, and you're just not teaching them stuff, like just telling them to do things. They want to see that you're happy. That's the best gift we can give them. Like, how do you be happy? Not just how do you get rich or how do you get into college? That's
Right.
not enough. How many more people do we need to see? Like politicians, celebrities who have all the money, all the power you could want, and they're miserable and
Miserable
thin-skinned.
people. They're the most miserable people on earth.
And the
They
rate of
are.
suicide.
I
It's
know.
like, so we know that's not it. We know that's not the answer. It's not to make it wrong. Money's great. Money makes a lot of things possible. We're not saying no to it, but that's not where happiness lies.
Not everything.
No.
Yeah.
It is not. For
No,
sure.
it's not.
Yeah.
And I wish
for
people would
me,
learn that sooner.
I know. And that's one thing that we share as, listening to you all talk about your bring, the way you were brought up is like, that's one that I'm really grateful as Latinos and Latinas.
Yeah.
That sense of family, the strength and bond of family is like, oh my God. It's like with all the imperfections in all of our families. I know I can be.
Cristian, tú estás como Claudia, porque Claudia acaba el vino rápido.
I have to go in the kitchen and get some more.
We definitely can hang out with Cristian.
Yeah. By the time we come back, Claudia and Cristian are gonna be like, hey.
And I gave myself a lot more today.
These are big glasses. These are our new glasses. They're much bigger than our original ones.
I love it that they all have your names on them. What a cute
Francis
idea.
got these for us for our 1-year anniversary event that we just had last Sunday.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk. I want to finish a thought that I got sidetracked.
Sorry.
Which is about women. No, nothing to be sorry, but it's been great. I'm loving this. I love the flow of it.
We're
and
loving
the natural.
having you here, by the way.
This is great. I'm like
Yeah.
So amazing.
Because when you asked me what inspired the book earlier, it's like one inspiration was my older sister. Like I was just saying, I'm one of 9. She is a natural born leader. Like when we were kids, she would boss around not only the 9 of us, but the entire neighborhood, like 15, 20 kids. And not in a bossy, nasty way. It was just like, she would say, hey, let's go do that. And we would all say, yeah, let's go do that. When she hit puberty, something happened. Like she turned that off. And I don't know if somebody said something to her that, or whether she just picked it up, from osmosis, from society, that women didn't behave that way. And she became like this kind of Mother Teresa persona. And I always thought that was tragic. Like, what is that? Because I know that's not the only, example of a woman giving up on her power because of social conditioning. Because the same qualities that we all know, the same leadership qualities in a guy, we all go like, what a great, strong leader. In a woman's like, what a bitch.
Yeah.
So the book is for everybody, but it has a particular message for women, because the more that I think about this, the more that I believe that the single most important thing that needs to happen in the world is the empowerment of women. And not to put women up on a pedestal, not to idealize women. Women also abuse power. And it's certainly not to give women more shit that they have to clean up in this world. It's because as a world, as a species, we've been running so off balance between the masculine and the feminine. And I believe that when women are in 50% of power in this world, we're going to have a very different relationship to war and poverty and hunger and social justice and education and how we treat the environment, to all of it. So this is why I dedicate and have a particular message for women in this book. It's like a strategic thinking. When we focus on that, it's going to impact so many other areas.
Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is like amen.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's powerful.
That was
I drink to that, but I don't have anything else to drink to.
Vete, go get more wine, go.
Yeah.
What would be the first thing you would tell a woman that's going through an unexpected divorce, that's struggling on how to handle it, or feels that they lost the opportunity to have a marriage?
Yeah. first thing is take a breath, right? Take a breath. And I mean, that's a whole other conversation that we can get into, the power of the breath. I actually have a TEDx talk about that. So because there are swamis in India that have that much control over their body that they can tell the heart to slow down, and it slows down. Some of them can even mimic like states that they can't tell whether they're dead or alive.
Wow.
Most of us are never going to get there, right? But anybody can slow down the breath. Anybody can slow down the breath. When we slow down the breath, the heart has no choice. The heart has to slow down, right? And when the heart slows down, like the body begins to relax, the nervous system begins to quiet down. So first of all, take a breath. Things will get better. You'll get over this. It's all going to work out one way or the other. It's going to work out, right? And so, because that's that when we're faced with a crisis like that, we immediately go into like panic mode and freak out mode, and then we can't even think straight. So when we slow down the breath, and most of us that I think are either like come from like the Caribbean or close to it, we know like the eye of the storm metaphor. Like, so I think that's what we're going for. Like we maintain center, and we allow all the drama, all the crap, all of everybody else's thoughts and beliefs and judgments and demands about what we should be and who we should be with and what we should be doing, all that drama around us. We don't have to get sucked into it. We maintain a sense of self. We maintain center. And it begins with by taking that deep breath, right? All right, chill out, like it's gonna be all right. And then any work we can do, like, right, to me, it's all like we were talking about before. It's all about the stronger our sense of self, the deeper our self-acceptance and our self-love, the more that all those details of life, they become less important, right? And the less that what people think or what other people think or the details of our life have an impact on our happiness, right? So here's a way to think about relationships. So we already established no relationship is going to make us happy,
right?
So that's important, right? Like happiness has to come from here. And we're talking about kids again. For me, it's like when I hear about, I'm staying in this miserable relationship for the sake of the kids, it's like, wait a minute, don't do that. You're not serving the kids.
Nope.
You're not, that's
You're
not helping
damaging
the kids. You're damaging the kids. Yeah. So that's important to remember too. And so look inside, right? To me, it's all about that. Understand the patterns, why we do the things we do, so that we don't repeat them. And to me, it's like, when we ask the question, how long do I stay? We can't really go by the feeling, because sometimes all relationships have ups and they go down, and we have ups and downs. But just because we're in a down doesn't mean it's time to bail.
Right.
So how do we know then, right? If we're not going to go by how we're feeling in that particular moment, here's my measurement. Here's how I gauge how long to stay. I ask myself, is growth happening? Right? And so for me, when I approach a relationship, my commitment is to my growth and their growth, even above the form of the relationship. Because the relationship, the form of it doesn't have to stay the same. Like I have people in my life that I was in a relationship with that I still in my life, right? The love is there. The love doesn't have to die. The love doesn't have to go away. It's just the form, the container has changed, right? We're not lovers. We're not partners anymore, but we're still in a relationship.
Still connected.
Yeah. So to me, that's the larger commitment is to our growth and to the growth of the other.
And I think also like the blame. I think sometimes we blame ourselves for things that may not have been all our fault. Like once you look at the situation and really just try to, self-reflect, because, just speaking from my own experience, I know when I do something wrong, but I have to reflect on it and then really, apologize, but then also know when something that was done to me hurt my spirit in some way.
Right.
And you have to voice it, but you learn to say something and not hold it in to the last minute and then think, I've gotten better there, right? Because that is horrible. And I've improved through the years with just relationships in general. So just expressing yourself like that bothers me, and that's also giving power to yourself. And
That's right.
And those little steps are hard, but they're so valuable and needed. And then it's out, then that person knows, like that hurt. So I think in your case, friend, I think there's so many factors.
Yeah.
So many factors that weren't all your fault.
Right.
It's so many things. And once you learn that and really self-reflect that there are things that in your spirit, like hurt your spirit, and you have to like get empowered there, and whatever, we all make mistakes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Own it. Right. And unfortunately, you're going through your divorce, but now it's time to like really just look in yourself and what happened there. I guess. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. I don't know.
You spoke. Don't downplay what you just said. You spoke a lot of wisdom.
You spoke truth.
Yeah.
I've always said, and you girls that are my friends know it, I've never ever anyone that has come to me to talk to me because I'm the oldest in the group and I'm the one that's done this by myself for 20 years with 2 boys, right? My advice always has been to all my friends with whatever, or family members, whatever it is they're going through, whether it's a relationship, whether it's work, whatever, my advice always has been, you need to sit and analyze by yourself. Like you were basically saying, Cristian, how much growth or how much positive is there? Like I like to use the word to put it on a balance beam and see if it's more good than bad, if it's more happy than sad. And then when you see the scale go, that's how you know and how you feel, like, Claudia just said, how your soul feels, because it's so important for your soul to be good, and if it's more negative or more bad or more hurtful, then it's not meant to be. But only you know when you're ready to make that decision or take that stand. No one can tell you stay or go or keep doing it or stop doing it. Only you know.
That's right.
And that has always been my advice to everyone across the board. Only you know what you can deal with, what you cannot deal with, what you're willing to put up with, what you're not willing to put up with, and when you're ready. When you're ready to say enough is enough, hasta aquí llegue, carajo.
Cheers.
Yeah. What's negotiable? That's really important. Like for those who are not in a relationship and want to be in a relationship, really important to get clear about what you want and what's negotiable and what's not negotiable.
And what is not. Exactly.
And own it. Like my sister's 25 and there are things that are non-negotiable. I'm like, and that's it. And if it doesn't work, then you need to just walk away.
No. I froze.
We know now what we want, right? But we didn't know when we were in our 20s what we wanted.
That's right.
So,
and what you were talking about, Claudia, what you were talking about, which is, it's like setting boundaries, like getting clear about what we want and what works for us and what doesn't, and communicating that. And what you were talking about is like, it's reclaiming our power.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like how many times have we said yes
when we
because
really
we didn't
know.
want to, because we didn't want to rock the boat. We were afraid of conflict. And that never works. That just never works. And so, and what you're talking about is we're so, like, especially men, we're so conditioned to believe that the emotions are a bad thing, that the emotions are weakness. It's like, wait a minute. And so little boys don't cry. Since we were kids, little boys don't cry.
Yeah.
What is that? Because only little girls cry because that's weakness? Like that is so wrong in so many levels, because if you want to talk, because that presumes that the feminine is weakness. It's like, wait a minute.
We're the stronger ones, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
We create you guys. We create you guys.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. If you want to talk power, if you want to talk resilience, if you want to talk courage, let's talk about the power of creation that's in a woman's body.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. And I'm not going to do it justice because there's only one Betty White, but I read, you're going to love this. She was being interviewed. I read this, I don't know if it's true, but I read that she was like in a group interview and somebody said something about having balls. And she said, wait a minute. How do we get this connection between balls and courage? You thump those little things and the guy collapses and bends over in pain.
Yes.
You want to talk power? You want to talk courage?
Yes.
Let's talk vaginas. Those things take a pounding.
That's the power.
Those-
I love her.
the Betty White.
Hysterical.
Yes. And she's still kicking, no?
Yes.
She's still
Yes,
kicking. I
yes,
think
she
she's
sure
about to
is.
hit 100.
Mhm.
But here's the thing about
She's
the
up there with
emotions.
Rita Moreno.
That's
Rita
true.
just turned 90.
Yeah.
Right. I can't wait. I haven't seen West Side Story yet, but I heard she's great in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm dying to go
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna see if I can see it this weekend. But anyway, going back to the emotions. What used to be spiritual teaching, that everything is energy. Like now we know from quantum physics that it's true, and everything is energy. That means that the wine glass, the computer, the body, the emotions, it's all energy. And we know from physics, energy cannot be destroyed. So
Mhm.
all those times that we said yes, and we swallowed our anger, and we swallowed our emotions, that doesn't go away, right? It
No.
gets stuffed. And so
And
what
then it
happens is
starts building.
yeah, and we stuff and we stuff and we stuff, and then the next person just says something the wrong, rubs us the wrong way.
Ow. Explosión.
Volcano.
A volcano.
Or worse, and we harm our relationships. Or we stuff, and then that stuff has to come out, and it starts seeping out and showing up as bodily symptoms:
Yeah.
cancer, ulcers, heart attacks. So we gotta, and what happens is we stuff it and we walk around with layers and layers and layers of repressed emotions. And then here we are trying to have a relationship in the present. All of it is getting filtered through that lifetime of repressed emotions and unhealed trauma. Like, oh my God. Like what a setup for relationships not working.
Yeah.
So deep on so many levels.
So we gotta get this.
Right.
Yes. Like
We gotta, and so what you're talking about, Claudia, is like getting in touch with what we're feeling and learning how to communicate that courageously, because it takes courage,
mhm.
Absolutely.
compassionately, and gracefully, which means in a way that they can hear it.
Right.
Right? Because every time we point the finger and we said, you did this and you did that, forget it.
There's no
Forget it.
shut down.
End of conversation.
Yeah.
And when we use words like you always and you never, forget it. They might be
Or
looking
if you
in the
raise the
eyes.
voice, then it becomes
Forget
a
it.
screaming match. No one is
Yeah.
That's
listening.
it. That's it. End of story. End of conversation.
Yeah.
And when we say those words like always and never, like they might be looking in the eyes, but inside they're going back in time
Yeah.
to that one time in 2001 where they didn't say that or do that.
Right.
And
Right.
so technically they're right. I
Right.
don't always do that.
Right.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true.
It is true. It's crazy.
Oh
how
my
your
God, so on the
verbiage-
money.
your verbiage and your delivery. Your delivery is so important, and how
Yeah.
you say it and how you, portray it. It can be so effective and it can be so damaging at the same time.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can be here forever with you, literally.
I know. I
God,
know.
I have to tell you, you have a very calming voice.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Thank
it's
you.
me, but I'm like, it feels like meditation.
That is why he does these retreats.
Yeah.
You have to
30 years
promise
in the
us,
making.
once your retreats go back, live and in person, you have to promise that you're going to reach out to us, because I'm sure all of us would love to attend one of your retreats.
Oh my God, I would so love to have you there.
That would be so
Um,
much fun.
And
Can't
we
Yeah,
promise
and-
definitely
we'll
would want you
behave,
back
but I
on the
can promise
show
we'll
as
be
well.
there.
And let's stay in touch. Either way, let's stay in touch.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love that.
Absolutely.
I would
Yeah.
love
It's been
that. I would love
amazing. It's
that.
been such a pleasure to have you on.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I loved it.
And
So much
so-
fun.
motivating, heartwarming,
Yes.
educational, eye-opening, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I mean,
It's felt amazing tonight.
yeah. Te voy a
I
comprar
feel
un
like
pasaje para que vengas para acá. Vente.
Pues dale. I just feel like I got 3 new sisters and I got lots of
Yes.
sisters.
Look, ha pasado una hora and I didn't feel it.
No,
I didn't
yeah, oh my
feel
God,
it.
it's been an hour.
Una
Wow.
hora tenemos juntos.
Yes.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yes.
Ni me había
Never.
dado
We've
cuenta.
never had anyone on for a whole hour.
Never.
Wow.
Never.
Our new brother, Christian.
Yes,
Mm.
definitely. Our new brother.
Thank
Amen
you.
to that. Who
To
drinks
the
more
last
wine
drop.
than Claudia?
Last drop. Let's go.
No, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for having the show. I know, like in your, even though I know it started as a joke, what you're doing really makes a difference, and you're reaching
Thank
people
you.
whose lives are being impacted by your willingness to do this. So, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Cristian.
so much. Don't go anywhere. We're going to ask you to do a little promo for our segment. And we will be right back with Belleza. Welcome back, everybody, to our final remarks. So, ladies, I think we didn't have an episode today. I think we had a spiritual experience. Do you guys agree?
100%.
Amen to that. 100%. I
Yeah.
was so moved. I can't
He is
explain. When I
just-
told him like my soul was filled today, like I mean it. Like
Mhm.
I feel
It was
good.
a blessing. It was a
Blessing.
blessing to have him on our show. He was so amazing.
Mhm.
I think he touched all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Time just flew by with him.
it did. It did. It flew by so much that we ended up dedicating this episode to him.
Yes.
He's amazing. Please go out and get his book. It's
amazing.
yeah, Awakening the Soul of Power. It's definitely going to be a learning lesson for yourself, your spirit, your intuition, everything. I
Take
think we
your
all
power
learned.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
think we
like
all learned
I'm
something.
still trying to find my power in certain things, places in my life, you know, and
Absolutely. All of us.
Definitely.
All of
but
us.
it's like he's putting that in the forefront, and I like
Yeah.
that because
Yeah.
you know that it's important for us to have control, and then
Yes.
that's
Yes. To learn to say no. It's okay to say no when we really
Right.
mean no.
I think that's the
Instead
big
of
part.
instead of yes when we really mean no.
Right.
you know?
Accepting the fact that it's okay to say no.
Yes. And that it's okay to care for ourselves, to
Mhm.
want to help ourselves, to
Yeah.
look out for ourselves. It's okay. It's not selfish.
No, it's not. It's not at all. It's a learning lesson, and I think it's just what builds you as a person, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. It makes you stronger. And I think as you get older, you learn that.
Yes.
You definitely learn that. And I think it also builds courage, which is one of the things we had this past weekend.
Yeah.
Courage.
A lot of courage.
We did, girl.
A lot of courage. I have to say, I'm so proud of us. I mean, Jessica and
Oh.
Angie aren't in this episode. They're traveling and enjoying Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic.
Yeah. We're not hating.
No, we're not hating at all. At all. But I am.
We had 60 degrees today.
Yes, it was actually really nice outside
It was
today.
nice.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that I am beyond proud of us and what we accomplished this past weekend at our first live show at SOBs. We had an amazing turnout. It was amazing being on that stage with you ladies, and we just did it. We owned it, and our fears were like gone the minute we started
out the door. What fears? What is that?
Yeah. And you
No
know, we fed off the audience, you know,
Yes.
they gave us energy, and the performances were amazing.
Yes.
It was
DJ Ralphie Mercado was
did it.
amazing. Rachel
Killed
La
it.
Loca was amazing. Pat Brown was amazing. Jenny
Yes.
Saldana was
So
amazing.
amazing.
Jeannie was
Jeannie
amazing.
was amazing. Everybody.
Everything
The-
was just so great.
You
The
know,
best
And
part,
all
like,
our
my
guests that were
mom,
there.
like,
Oh my God, thank you so
so-
much for coming
thank
out and
you, yeah.
supporting us and showing us
Yeah.
so much love. It was just, we're
It's
still
so
on cloud
funny.
9.
because my mom, like, she's like, I am so proud of you, right? You know, and I'm like, thank you. I'm like, you know, part of you is in me. This is why I'm
Yeah.
able to do this.
yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
you know, I'm like, you are my everything, and like, I am who I am because of you. And just her smile, her expression was just, it was like, I can't explain it. You know, it was beautiful.
She was glowing. She was glowing in admiration and in happiness and just like pride. She was glowing in pride. She didn't know what to do with herself or you at that point. You know, she was just like, Claudia. She didn't know what to do with you at that point. You know, and I forgot to tell you this, and I'm gonna say it on air now, and he'll be fine with it. So I understand that it's a struggle for you with the kids and Rodney, and it's a lot. You have your job, you have the baby, you have the 2 kids. So Rodney was like, "Oh my God, you guys are so great," and he was congratulating us. So I pulled him to the side and I said, "I just want to say thank you to you, right? For I don't want not allowing her, but giving her the stretch to be able to be part of something like this, especially when you have a baby and you have your own business and you have the kids." And I was like, I want to thank you because this was something that was done on the fly, but it's look where we are today. And his response to me was, "Whatever makes Claudia happy."
Oh.
That was his response. And I was like, "Oh, Rodney." So he's like, "Whatever makes her happy." So, I know it's a challenge for all of us, right? Because we're tired. It's 10:30 at night. We want to go to bed. And, but I think this past Sunday, we just saw the bigger picture of what it really is, so kudos to Rodney and to Fred, of course, also. I also thanked him and he was like, Angie's the boss, whatever she wants, So I applaud them and I applaud you ladies. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. So I can't be beyond happy or proud of what we did on that stage on Sunday, so.
And I want to also shout you out, girl.
Thank you.
You are, your attention to detail is one of a kind.
Thank you.
I'm like, oh, like these things that you do. I'm like, you know me, when she did my wedding, I was like, why we need that? I'm like, she's like, Claudia. But like, it's definitely one of a kind. It's we see it, we definitely treasure it, and just
thank you.
Gloria, you too.
All your hard work and sacrifices that you did, and all those long hours, and all that, losing your shit. Like it was all well worth it.
It was definitely worth
because
it.
We had an amazing event, an amazing turnout, and everything just flew so beautifully.
Yeah, it was. And I welcomed everybody's input, and you guys just, once Rachel started talking, you guys just went into a whole different mode.
Absolutely. It's showtime, baby. It's showtime.
Like, let's go. We're ready.
You know what's funny? Like, it's perfect with today's episode because we found our power, right?
Right. Now, we got our power. We took our power and we showed it.
And we showed it. And, it's for a bigger purpose. It's for Latina women. It's for all women, right?
For everyone. We're
highlighting our Latina women too. And it's a beautiful thing. And let's continue.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's our goal, to continue to inspiring other women to do anything that they want to do, whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable. Put your mind to it, put the hard work and the sacrifice into it, and you will see the fruits of your labor. You will see, you flourish.
And men too.
Absolutely.
And the younger generation as well, that's trying to figure out,
Yeah,
because I think, believe it or not, we may think we're just inspiring women, but I think we're inspiring everyone and anyone that tunes in and watches or hears.
Yeah, so, 38% of our listeners are men.
Yeah, there you go.
So shout out to Brazil. Brazil has been tuning in a lot lately. So gracias, Brazil, por tu apoyo, por tu amor.
I have no more wine.
We have no more wine. Well, I had to refill. So, but thank you so much for watching our show and for tuning in. Please, okay, I messed this up, so we're gonna start over. Cannot minimize Zoom when you are recording the meeting. Okay, so I wasn't planning to do that. Anyway, all right. So ready? 3, 2, 1. So thank you so much for watching our show. Tune in next week where we are going to be having our holiday gift exchange episode. So yes, I can't wait to get my gift.
We are so looking forward to sharing our gifts, traditions, and what the holidays means to us. So tune in Wednesday on YouTube to see and hear all about it.
Oye,
Follow- No? Don't forget, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and tune in and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and now you can watch us on Spotify and Wine and Wisdom 5.
Oye, prepárate to take a minute to sip some wine and share a little wisdom. Ciao. Till next time.
Bye.